The following commentary is for entertainment purposes only. The opinions shared aren't personal, often said in jest, and have no merit in the real lives of the cast members. With that being said, let's binge, let's banter, and most importantly, let's move on. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Queenie. For those who don't know me, reviewing Love is Blind Season 7, Episode 1. Before I get into it, please make sure to like this video, subscribe and hit the bell, and leave a comment down below. If you did not know, your comment cannot be a spoiler. All right? Any spoilers, you will get blocked. Also, if you don't remember if it's a spoiler, watch the video. And that should jog your memory. So I've already done a first impressions on the cast. We read their bios and all of that jazz. But we are going to start with Ashley A. She is 31 and is shocked why she's single because she has always wanted to be married and plans to stay married.
Ashley A. Who is this?
This is Tyler.
Like, I'm easy to talk to.
No, you have a soothing voice, but it's like, I'm a huge food guy. Love to cook.
Oh, you cook?
Yes.
Oh, you write that down.
I had things to ask, and then my nerves.
No, it's okay. I love that you're nervous.
Ashley A really does have a calming demeanor about her. I can see why the guys got really comfortable with her in the pods. Now, she says that she has a very generous heart. She wants to bless others because she has been blessed. And then it reminds me that isn't she the one who was basically with a hobosexual? Like, she was financing this man's entire lifestyle. Let's be cautious of how much we want to bless people, you know? I don't know how much I feel. I don't know. It's giving a scrub as a guy who thinks he's fly and is also known as a buster. Girl, I think you were with a buster, but let's move on. She's obviously left him and hopefully she'll find something better here. Next is Nick D. He is 29 and he has such an unfortunate name. I think he said it's Dorka, like dork, just with an A at the end. I can only imagine the kind of teasing he went through in school.
I like to be flirty. I like to be sarcastic.
This is cute.
Yeah. What's cute, me? So you were a shooting guard, weren't you?
How'd you know?
You a Ravens fan?
Well, they pay my bills, babe.
You got a really pretty voice. Like, where are you from? You're definitely from the South, aren't you?
Cheerleader in high school, dated the quarterback type of feel, like growing up. I'm from West Virginia. Very, very small town, like.
You sound pretty great.
You do too.
If I was at your high school, you would have dated the kicker.
Nick actually surprised me. Just looking at him, I would have thought he falls in line with his name, kind of like a dork, but he has this swag that I didn't see coming at all. Like, he's smooth with his words. He's whatever the women would throw at him, he would volley it right back. And I'm like, oh, all right, Nick, okay. I'm not quite sure if he's like this in real life as well, but if it is because he's in the pods, this wall is doing wonders for him. He says that he's a bit anxious when it comes to love, but because he understands the gravity of this process, he is ready to finally fall in love for the first time. Now, he says he's unsure if he has been in love before. I feel like if you're unsure, the answer is no, you haven't been in love. Because when you know, right? At least that's what the people them say. A lot of the women are older than him. So Hannah being 26 is a good, that's a good route to go down. Now, Hannah is something, At first I was thinking, oh, Hannah's misunderstood. Hannah, is just trying her best and is just unlucky in finding the right person. But as this episode goes on, we learn that Hannah is problematic.
People are very superficial, and people say they aren't, but people are. They're not into my hobbies or my passions or you have the prettiest face, your best personality, but if you have a couple extra pounds, they're not really into you.
Hannah says that she struggles to date because she's an oddball and often her physique is an issue for guys. Now, I want you to remember that, okay? She said that being a bigger woman sometimes is a roadblock for some men that she has dated, because that is not the tune she's singing at the end of the episode. Unless I'm confused, I was like, well, that's not what you told us at the beginning. But anyways, she's a bit of an oddball. Nick D is also an oddball. I think it's a good match. Another good pick that she has is Leo. Leo has a quirkiness that I think is a little bit more in line with Hannah. But in terms of the flow of conversation, I think that it makes more sense with Nick. Now, Nick is charming. And a lot of people were kind of falling for Nick's charm at the beginning, but then they realized, maybe it's just a charm. When it comes to compatibility, we actually don't match. So I can see why she's also hesitant to go that way, because later on, she says that Leo is her number one pick. And even Leo, at this point, is saying that Hannah is his number one pick. So Leo says that he has a history of dealing with women who only want him for his money. And
I'm fortunate, like I have an interesting and lucrative job. I'm an art dealer.
Ooh, that's a cool job.
One of my biggest insecurities is that a girl only wants me like for money.
I don't know. If that's the case, why do you flaunt your money the way that you do? And I wrote this down before he even got into the whole like, oh, this person in my family died and this person and this person and this person. And so like, you know, I was raised with a lot of money, you know, I've been blessed to be well off. I inherited a booming art business. Like, you could just tell he has an air of, I will flaunt my money, but then also be confused at why people only want me for my money. Like, Leo, Leo is going to be something else. Another person who is into Leo is Britney. Britney's 32, and she says that she's single because she chases fun and typically dates ballers and, what did she say? Ballers and something else, child. Rock stars.
I could easily seduce any of these guys. Honestly, I just don't look bad in anything.
Fuck, that's sexy.
Some people want to be boss babes and make all the money and live their lifestyle, but I know what I want. I'm obviously a trophy wife.
What was the last thing you tried to cook?
Couldn't tell you. A smoothie? I need to start manifesting. I'm gonna start visualizing it.
It is clear that this girl, Britney, just wants to be a wag or something similar. So why she came on Love is Blind is beyond me. I feel like she can achieve that without coming on the show. The only thing that I can think of is the show will give you some kind of notoriety. It'll make you more accessible to those ballers and rock stars. But I think you could have found that without coming on Love is Blind. But anyways, her connecting with Leo kind of makes sense. He says that he doesn't like women who just chase him for his money, although he puts his money on Front Street, and she wants to be a trophy wife. So if you ask me, it kind of makes sense. The only thing about her is that I get the impression that she is superficial. Now, she doesn't think that she is. She thinks that people often have misconceptions about her with her voice and her looks. They think that she's like a ditzy airhead or she's a superficial girl. The ditzy airhead thing, I can get that being a misconception, but the superficial, I think that that is absolutely true. I think that she is shallow, but we've yet to find out. Leo makes sense for her on paper, but does his aesthetic match what she's looking for? I don't know. We will find out. Next, we have Garrett. Garrett is 31, and he says that he hasn't prioritized love in the past. So now he's trying to connect in a deeper way, and he's starting with Taylor.
Did you play sports?
I played basketball.
No way, see? Yeah, so you get it. I'm a physicist.
I hated physics.
I've got a quantum equation on my back of my right arm.
No way.
Yeah.
I have a little hydrogen tattoo on my wrist that was like Heisenberg.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're never gonna know where I am then. I think that relationships are going like toward entropy.
Wow, I really like this conversation.
I would be lying if I said I understood what these two were talking about. I had no idea. He is a physicist. I don't know what she's into, but they connected on science. They connected on some other stuff. They had similar tattoos. He had a quantum equation on his back, I think. I don't know, guys. And she had a hydrogen tattoo because she's into biology or chemistry. One of the sciences. They both have a history of being athletes, a history of sports and stuff. So yeah, they have similar struggles in finding love. It seems to make sense on paper. Taylor walks away from this conversation saying that she has a crush on Garrett. And Garrett, for the most part, is like, this is my number one. I can't even remember Garrett talking to anybody else at this level outside of Taylor. So off rip, these two, they're like, I like you, you like me. Let's see where this goes. So now we meet Tim. And I'm going to say with Tim, I did have question marks about him. Because at first I was like, oh, this guy is strict. But when you learn more about his story, you're like, oh, okay, I can understand why he moves the way he does in life. So he talks about the shirt that he has and how he bought it out of spite because a girl he was talking to said he didn't like it. And then he follows that up by saying that he feels like women misunderstand him and he doesn't know why. And I'm here like, well, you're kind of giving us a peek into why.
In the past, I was a dog, man. I wasn't ready. At a point of maturation where the best thing that could happen is I find the love of my life.
I've always said if and when I get married, I want to get a lioness tattooed. I've always appreciated just like the leadership of what a lion with a great mane looks like. And
For you, what's the big difference between like just a serious relationship and the prospect of a marriage?
It's for better, for worse, before God.
Tim is very straightforward. If memory serves me, I think in his bio, he said that he's not a person who's going to tell you sweet nothings. He's a straight shooter. He'll tell you like it is. He'll tell it like it is. So, I mean, he does soften up throughout the process, but I was like, ooh, he's giving strict. Like, oh my gosh. He's connected with Alex, and honestly, they do have a good connection going. She opens up about her parents being together for a long time, but not being married. They both have MS, and when the mom's health started to deteriorate, he left her. And so she was like, I now see the importance of marriage because it was so easy for him to just up and leave because they weren't in a legally binding union. And my thing is, you know, I also value marriage. I do want to be married. However, I think it's more important to find somebody who has a mindset of commitment and loyalty and lifelong partnership, because you could be married and they're like, you know what, I'm done, and they want a divorce. So it's more about the person's mindset when it comes to the longevity of a relationship rather than they just want to get married. Because a lot of people just want to get married, but a lot of people are not going to stick it out through the ups and downs of marriage. Because if you think about it too, if both partners had MS, eventually their health was going to deteriorate. So this whole in sickness and in health thing was going to have to be present even in marriage. So if he could leave her because of health reasons, I feel like he was going to just leave her regardless. But either way, Alex now sees the value in marriage and wants that for herself. Leo talks to Britney and tells her that when he first spoke to her, he thought that she was fun, bubbly, but definitely not shallow. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, baby, you are not paying attention.
I think it's really cool that you took over the family business.
I told you that a lot of them got cancer, right?
Yeah.
I grew up like very well off, and like because I had all of these family tragedies, I got inheritance.
My last relationship, I was taken care of 100%. I do like nice things, and we shop more, grooming and nails and hair, and I will tell you, if I wanted to marry for the money, I would have married a very long time ago.
Personally, I think that these two have stereotyped each other. I think that he assumes she is this cute, girly. Isn't he the guy who said he likes to go for girly girls? I think he has this image of her, and the voice doesn't help either, where he does see her as somebody who would be kind of like a trophy wife. And with Britney, she was asking about, you know, his work, how he inherited the business and stuff like that. And I think on her end, she sees him as somebody who can provide the life that she desires. And she even says that in her past relationships, she was with people who would take care of her 100%. So I wouldn't be shocked if that's still what she's looking for. He says that he can see her being misunderstood because of her voice, like people thinking that she isn't as smart as she is. And I was thinking to myself, like, I think he's one of them, because he gave her props on the most simple thing ever. She's like, yeah, I'm very intuitive, and I knew you would be someone who would have multiple options. Don't you think almost everybody does in the process? Like, what? But that's being intuitive? And he's like, yeah, you're so smart. I don't know about y'all, but I was like, I think these two are playing in each other's face, but honestly, it might work out for them. So when he's talking about his art dealership business thing, whatever, he says that he doesn't appreciate when women just go after him because of his money. Like, that's an insecurity for him. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, number one, stop flaunting it. And number two, definitely don't share that it's an insecurity. Because all that will do is lead women to just mask the fact that they're there with you for those reasons. So, like, I don't know. This guy, he's saying a lot of BS because his actions are not aligning with the words that he's saying at all. Then later, he's telling the guys in the men's lounge, like, yeah, this person in my life passed away, and this person, and this person. And I'm not going to lie. he has experienced a lot of loss. I really do sympathize for his story. But then it quickly turns and he's like, yeah, because everybody's gone and I'm the only child, I inherited everything and I lived a great life and, you know, I'm well off and I'm this and I'm that. I'm thinking, insecurity? Really? You don't like when women come after you for your money? I would like to argue that that is your selling point. I haven't seen anything about Leo that is intriguing enough for people to want to latch onto outside of the fact that he is well off financially. And I think he knows that. That's why he leads with that. And I think Britney knows that, and that's why she is sticking around. I don't think these two would actually like each other in the real world. Well, I think he would like her. I don't think she would like him in the real world, but that's the magic of the pods. You match with people you would never run into. Leo later goes on to say that he's not on the show to be an influencer. He's here to genuinely find love. But at this point, he is torn between Britney and Hannah.
Like, one thing I appreciated is, like, you haven't, like, asked me, like, a million things about my job. Like, you wanted to know me, not, like, about my job. I swear, I'm not making this up. You were in a dream of mine last night.
Shut up.
And
Okay,
there
I
was
feel really special right now, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. You were like, I mean, I'm assuming white.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though you're the youngest one here, I think you might be the most mature one I've talked to.
Really?
I really think you are.
The man says he has strong feelings for both women. I guess I can see that. They're kind of different. They're quite different, actually. But Hannah says that Leo makes her feel alive. Girl, not Leo. Leo can't be the one who makes you feel alive. I haven't seen Leo really give anything. I can't even remember a single thing that he has spoken about because nothing sticks out about Leo outside of the fact that he has money. That's it. That's what the man talks about the most, or at least that's what the show is deciding to highlight the most. In my opinion, I think that Nick D is more of Hannah's speed. And then these two in their date started talking about celebrity lookalikes. And I was like, oh my gosh, here we go again.
I know that you were a cheerleader in high school. You dated the quarterback.
I'll be your Taylor Swift and you can be...
I'm a little bit better looking than Travis, but...
Okay,
hey.
okay.
My celebrity crush used to be Beyonce. I think Scarlett Johansson's up there.
Henry Cavill. I feel like that would be mine.
I kind of look like him, like the less buff version of him.
I need the people on Love is Blind to get a grip, okay? I need them to be realistic about what they look like and stop comparing themselves to people who they don't look like, all right? Why did this man jokingly compare himself to Travis Kelce? Not the Travis that I know. There must be another one, okay? And then he compared himself to somebody else. I don't remember who it was, but he said, like, I'm like a slightly less buff, or maybe not slightly, but I'm a less buff version of this person. And I was like, without even looking, I'm pretty sure that's not true.
It is most definitely not true.
I'm pretty sure that's not true. Y'all need to stop comparing yourselves to people at all. You're on the show because looks shouldn't even be important. Stop it. He later goes on to say that he's a very physically affectionate person. He's very complimentary as well. So whenever he meets Hannah, if he gets the opportunity, he will do just that. And so this is indication for us that if he's not doing that, he either is a liar or he doesn't like her. Garrett and Taylor talk about ethnicity and upbringing, and this might be an issue for Garrett, we don't know, because he says that he only has a history of dating white women.
My dad, Tom, he's very handy. My mom's first name, I think it gives away part of like how I look.
The thought hadn't crossed my mind at all in any direction on that. So it is a new feeling for me, even without knowing like what ethnicity you are. You are very like calculated about what you say, and I'm like, what's she hiding?
I get why Taylor is concerned about not divulging too much about her ethnicity because it can give away what she could look like to Garrett. However, as Garrett said, it kind of sounds like she is very calculated. It sounds like she is holding back. And if at the end of this, you're supposed to be getting proposed to somebody, I'm gonna need you to open up. I'm gonna need you to not be withholding important information. Now, Garrett having only dated white women does not mean he's incapable of dating a person of color. However, I do think that knowing that he's only dated white women should make it more important for Taylor to explain her race, her ethnicity, her heritage, her culture, all that jazz, because there's so much nuance that comes with being in an interracial relationship, and it would be best for him to know what he's getting into before he proposes. At least that's my impression. I think the couples that have the best success, at least the interracial couples on the show, are the ones who talk about that aspect in the pods. Because you come out and you realize, oh, you live a completely different life than I do. And you're very sold on your culture, and I'm sold on my culture, and our cultures are clashing. So yeah, not to say that he's incapable, but I felt like it would have been an important conversation to have. I can see why she doesn't want to open up that door, but I think it's an important door to open. Ashley A and Tyler talk about gender roles. He says that he's not really too bothered about them. He will do whatever he needs to do as a spouse, and he's not going to do like the husband thing, and she's not expected to do like the wife thing. So they do align in that aspect. Then they both talk about upbringing. Oh, my heart really broke for Tyler.
Her dad cut her out of his life or having kids outside of her race.
No.
It was growing up struggling. My mom didn't have much. She would work all day, then she would like come home enough to like get us dinner, then she would work a night shift, and she'd be like, oh, I'm not hungry, but I knew she was hungry. And we didn't have much love. Like I remember like I wouldn't even tell my mom, like I love you, like nothing. Her mom found out she had cancer. I didn't know how to console a person.
I spent a lifetime running.
Tyler says that his mom was cut off by her family because she had kids with somebody interracially. Now, I'm not quite sure if she ended up marrying his dad, but it sounds like she raised him and his siblings as a single mom. So I'm not quite sure what happened there. But he says that, but also, didn't I just say that it is important to talk about the nuances of being in an interracial relationship? Like, hello, it's important. Like, it's not the end all and be all, but it's important conversation to have. He says that he grew up struggling with expressing love because he didn't really see much of love. He wasn't in a verbally affectionate family like that. So when his grandmother passed away, which was the only support that his mom had, he didn't really know how to console her. Now, in his defense, he was young. However, if I was Ashley, I would question how he has worked through that. Like, are you now more affectionate? And what does that look like? And right after I said it, the man said in the men's quarters that in his past relationship, he tends to be closed off. He says if he would have met Ashley and he wasn't attracted to her, he wouldn't give her the time of day. And if he was attracted to her, he would shut himself off because of whatever reason. And I'm like, you see why it's important to ask him if he's worked through that? Like, even if you are attracted to her, you would shut yourself off. Why? I think it has to do with that complex of expressing love. I think he still struggles with that. So I would want to know, if I was with him, how has he worked through that? So apparently Hannah and Britney are being weighed up against each other. I don't know why. I don't think that they're similar enough to want to compare, but I guess because Leo is attracted to both of them, the guys wanted to weigh the pros and cons between both. They do acknowledge that Britney is into the finer things in life, and so that might be a challenge, but Hannah, like Hannah even said herself, is hard to understand. So they don't really get the intrigue for Hannah. So I would love for them to explain more about that. Like, what about Hannah are you not connecting with? I mean, we later find out, but I wanted to hear their own reasons. So Hannah in the ladies' quarters is saying that she's seeing some red flags when it comes to Nick D. She thinks that he organizer. She thinks that on the outside he would have no trouble getting with women, and so she's questioning his intentions for coming on the show. She thinks that he sexualizes her, and I'm thinking, if you've got all these red flags, like why are you even entertaining this? This doesn't make sense. But she thinks that Leo is just a stellar guy, and I'm like, girl, little do you know, you have a better chance with Nick than you do with Leo. Leo is the one you should actually be concerned about. But does she grill Nick? Not lick. Does she grill Leo? No, she grills Nick and questions his intentions for being on the show.
I know the qualities I'm looking for in a person, not looks-wise. I want something sincere. I want something genuine. It's become so clear.
Why has it become clear?
What do you mean? I mean, like, why has it become clear?
You've got it all. You've probably gotten everything you wanted in life, right? Like, you were a college athlete.
Why are you here? Because it seems like you wouldn't have trouble really in the real world either.
Guys like you are the ones who like me in the real world. I'm scared that, like, the reason why you like me so much is because you think I'm hot. I am just hot to them, or I'm just like a pretty thing to look at.
I feel like you think I'm like this like Victoria's Secret model, and if
No.
I'm not that, like
No.
Every time I ask you a question, you articulate it great. You explain your feelings to me. Like,
So why can't you just go with that?
that's the problem. I don't know.
Hannah perplexes me because she's going to make it seem like on the outside, guys like Nick, the athletes, the hot guy, go after her because she's basically a sex symbol. They go after me because I'm hot or whatever. And I'm like, okay, but I thought you said that your physique tends to be a roadblock on the outside. And then she flips it around and she's like, I feel like you're only talking to me because you think I'm hot. But what if you're going to be disappointed with what I look like? What if my body's not perfect? What if and I'm like, but you just finished that. Like, this girl was not making any sense to me. She then said, guys like him tend to be the womanizers, tend to not be serious when it comes to these relationships. She feels like he is feeding her sweet nothings. She feels like the fact that he is charming is a concern. And I'm thinking to myself, Nick, if I were you, I would get up and run. Although you like her and although you see a future with her, she's saying all these things about you that you don't believe to be true. And obviously she's carrying this into your relationship that you're building. Why would you want to continue in this direction? For me, this was when I could see, okay, this girl likes to self-sabotage. I don't know what kind of internal turmoil she's going through, but she's ruining a good thing off of these preconceived notions that she has about people like Nick. I don't even know who people like Nick are. Nick, to me, doesn't fit the profile that she's describing. So yeah, I don't know. I'm very confused. But she then says that she is going to know that he has things to work on. Yeah. And that her other connections are better. And I'm confused when she says he has things to work on, because she just said he articulates himself very well. He's very charming. He knows what he wants. Like, she just doesn't believe it. She hears it and she affirms him in that way, but she doesn't believe it. So if anything, you're the one who has things to work on, sister. But anyways, they go their separate ways and Nick is contemplating leaving because Hannah was his only option. In the ladies' quarters, you see Britney come in and she slips that her connection is Leo, which is a problem for Hannah because that was her backup if Nick wasn't going to work out. Well, she says Leo was my number one. I guess, fine. So if things didn't work out with Leo, if things didn't work out, I'm confusing myself. That's how confusing Hannah is. The point is, she's now having regrets and she's thinking of giving Nick another chance because she's not the only woman vying for Leo's attention. So we will see what happens in the next episode. Again, do not spoil. If you watch to the end, you know what was in this episode. All right? So leave your comments that are spoiler free. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.